In the year 2000, Enron Corporation was named the most innovative company in America. For the sixth year in a row, Fortune magazine, America's most respected business publication, 6 consecutive years, most innovative company in the country. Their stock was flying. Their executives were on magazine covers. Business schools were writing case studies about their genius. Wall Street analysts were falling over each other to recommend the stock to investors. The CEO was being discussed as a future Secretary of Energy. 18 months later, the whole thing was gone. Not struggling, not restructuring. Gone. Enron filed for bankruptcy in December 2001 in what was, at that moment, the largest corporate collapse in American history. 20,000 employees lost their jobs overnight. Billions of dollars of retirement savings, money ordinary people had spent their entire careers building, evaporated in days. The stock that had traded at $90 a share fell to less than $1. And the reason it all collapsed was not bad luck, not a market downturn, not a single catastrophic mistake. It was a lie, a massive, elaborate, meticulously maintained lie, told by some of the smartest people in American business to some of the most sophisticated investors in the world for nearly 2 decades. This is the story of Enron, the company that didn't really exist, and the men who built an empire out of nothing but confidence and fraud. Enron starts in 1985 as something entirely unglamorous. It's a natural gas pipeline company based in Houston, Texas, formed from the merger of two regional energy companies. It moves gas through pipes from one place to another and charges for the service. Reliable, predictable, deeply, profoundly boring. Then a man named Jeff Skilling arrives. Skilling is a Harvard MBA. He is brilliant, ruthless, and genuinely contemptuous of anyone he considers intellectually inferior, which is most people. He comes from McKinsey, the elite consulting firm, and he arrives at Enron with an idea that sounds visionary. Instead of being a company that moves gas through pipes, Enron should become a company that trades energy contracts, like a bank, but for electricity and gas. Buyers and sellers of energy would come to Enron to make deals, and Enron would sit in the middle, taking a cut of every transaction. The concept is called a gas bank, and on paper it makes sense. Energy markets in America were being deregulated. There was genuine opportunity in creating a marketplace where energy could be bought and sold like stocks and bonds. Enron transforms itself. It hires traders, it builds trading floors, it moves fast and it moves aggressively. And for a while, a genuine while, it works. But working is not enough for Jeff Skilling. And it is definitely not enough for the man who runs the company above him. The CEO of Enron is Ken Lay, a charming, politically connected Texan who wants Enron to be the most admired company in America and is willing to do almost anything to make the stock price reflect that ambition. The problem with trading energy contracts is that the profits are uncertain and slow. You make a deal today that pays out over years. How do you show Wall Street growth every single quarter when the actual cash hasn't arrived yet? Skilling finds an answer, an accounting method called mark-to-market. The concept simplified. When Enron signs a long-term energy contract, instead of booking the profit as the money actually comes in over time, they book the entire estimated future profit immediately, on day one, before a single dollar has changed hands. The SEC approves this method for Enron in 1992. And what follows is one of the most elegant frauds in the history of capitalism. Here is how it works in practice. Enron signs a 20-year energy contract. Their accountants estimate the total future profit. Let's say $100 million. That $100 million goes on the books today as revenue right now. The stock goes up. The executives collect their bonuses. Wall Street applauds. But the actual $100 million may never arrive. The estimates may be wildly optimistic. The deal may fall apart. None of that matters to this quarter's numbers. So Enron keeps signing deals, booking future profits immediately, showing Wall Street a growth story that looks extraordinary, because it is, quite literally, made up. And when the actual cash fails to arrive, when the real business underneath the accounting trick starts to crack, they need a way to hide the losses. That is where Andrew Fastow comes in. Andrew Fastow is Enron's chief financial officer. He is also, it will later emerge, running one of the most sophisticated financial cover-up operations in corporate history. The problem Fasto needs to solve is this. Enron is accumulating enormous debt, real debt, billions of dollars of actual money owed to actual creditors. If that debt appears on Enron's balance sheet, investors will see it, the stock will fall, and the whole illusion collapses. Fasto's solution is to make the debt disappear, not by paying it, but by hiding it. He creates hundreds of shell companies, entities with names like LJM Cayman and Raptor that exist on paper, technically separate from Enron, specifically designed to absorb Enron's losses and debt and keep them off the main balance sheet. The conflict of interest is staggering. Fasto is personally profiting from these entities while running them on behalf of Enron. He is in effect doing business with himself using other people's money, but the auditors, the firm responsible for checking Enron's books, sign off on it. Arthur Andersen, one of the most prestigious accounting firms in the world, looks at what Fasto has built and either doesn't understand it, doesn't want to understand it, or simply decides that keeping Enron as a client matters more than asking the right questions. The house of cards stands, the stock keeps climbing, the magazine covers keep coming, and nobody, not the analysts, not the auditors, not the regulators, not the board of directors, asks the one question that would have ended everything. Where is the actual cash? In 2001, a short seller named Jim Chanos starts digging into Enron's financial statements. A short seller is someone who bets that a stock will fall. They are, by nature, skeptical, professionally, financially motivated to find problems that optimistic investors overlook. Chanos cannot make the numbers add up. Enron is reporting enormous profits, but the cash flow, the actual money moving in and out of the business, tells a completely different story. A company genuinely making the profits Enron claims should be generating cash. Enron is not. He starts shorting the stock, and he starts talking. In February 2001, a Fortune journalist named Bethany McLean publishes an article with a simple, devastating headline, "Is Enron overpriced?" The article asks exactly the question nobody had been asking. Where does Enron actually make its money? How does the business actually work? Enron's response is aggressive and immediate. Executives call McLean's editors. Skilling personally calls her analysis unethical. The company does everything in its power to discredit the story and the journalist. It doesn't work. Other journalists pick up the thread. Analysts start asking the same questions. The confidence that had held the entire structure together, the market's absolute faith in Enron's numbers, begins to crack. By October 2001, Enron is forced to disclose a $1.2 billion hole in its finances. The shell companies, the hidden debt, the fake profits. All of it begins to surface at once. The stock collapses, trading partners pull back, credit ratings are slashed. Within weeks, Enron cannot borrow money, cannot make payments, cannot function. On December 2, 2001, Enron files for bankruptcy. 20,000 people lose their jobs before Christmas. The criminal trials that follow are among the most significant in American business history. Jeff Skilling is convicted of fraud and conspiracy, sentenced to 24 years in prison, later reduced to 14. He serves 12 years before being released in 2019. Andrew Fasto pleads guilty. He cooperates with prosecutors and serves 6 years. Ken Lay, the CEO, the charming, politically connected face of Enron, is convicted on all 6 counts of fraud and conspiracy against him. He dies of a heart attack in July 2006, 3 months before his sentencing, before he serves a single day in prison. Arthur Andersen, the accounting firm that signed off on everything, is indicted for obstruction of justice. The firm, one of the 5 largest accounting companies in the world, employing 85,000 people globally, ceases to exist within months of the indictment. The story of Enron is not really a story about accounting tricks or shell companies. It is a story about what happens when an institution, a company, a regulator, a market, decides that the appearance of success matters more than the reality of it. Every person who should have caught Enron made a choice not to look too closely. The auditors who needed the fees, the analysts who needed access, the board members who needed to believe, the journalists who were told the story was too complicated to question. Enron did not survive because its fraud was undetectable. It survived because almost everyone around it was incentivized not to detect it. The most innovative company in America, 6 years running. Innovation, it turned out, was just another word for a lie nobody had bothered to check.